Are you planning to do a New Year's resolution this year with some aspect of your health? But maybe you're not feeling super confident about that? Maybe because of past experiences with New Year's resolution? Well, if that is the case, listen up and stay tuned because that's what I'm going to talk about today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Christine Garrison. I'm a health coach. I help midlife women who are done with dieting stop their sabotaging beliefs and behaviors and learn to take practical, small steps in their health so that they can feel younger as they get older. So today is going to be the very first video in a series. I'm going to do 2 next week and then 2 the week after, so 4 more after this one, all about the very, very important but almost always neglected aspect to setting up any New Year's resolution is the mental prep work. So nobody thinks about the mental prep work that comes before actually doing your New Year's resolution. So that's what I want to focus this series on. So no matter what your resolution is, this will apply to anything. Doesn't matter what diet you follow, exercise, this could be about financial success. Whatever resolution you have, mental prep work is very important for all of it. And if you don't have a resolution, don't worry about it, because neither do I. I never make a New Year's resolution. That's just never been of interest to me. If I want to make a change or do something, then I start doing it pretty much immediately or right after I've done the mental prep work. So you don't have to start a New Year's resolution on January 1st if you don't want to. You could do it whenever you want. So let's dive in. So you probably already know the statistics on New Year's resolution success is not that great, right? I think some magazine named January 19th as National Quitters Day. That was the day that the majority of people, dropped off of their New Year's resolution goals. So that, and then another publication named the second week of February as the week that, by that point in time, 80% of people have given up on their New Year's resolution. So again, probably not shocking news to you. Most people know that the success of New Year's resolutions isn't typically that great. So let's look at why. Why is that? And how can you do something to change that? So I want to give you a person to think about. So I'm going to have an imaginary client. I'm going to name her Betty. So Betty is a midlife aged gal, and she's decided she wants to make some changes in her health and wants to improve maybe how she eats and maybe exercise more, things like that. Now, Betty has a lot of desire. She really wants to make these changes. These are very important changes to her. So she has a lot of desire. But this is not Betty's first time around the block when it comes to New Year's resolution. And last year, Betty had a New Year's resolution, and that was she was going to do the paleo diet, follow the paleo diet, and do CrossFit. And that didn't last very long. Wasn't super excited about the diet and just couldn't find her the time to get to the CrossFit gym, or it was too hard and she was too sore, etc. So this year, though, Betty's all ready this year because she's thought, all right, the paleo diet was the problem, CrossFit was the problem. This New Year's resolution is going to be about, I'm going to do keto, and I'm going to get a Peloton for Christmas, and I'm going to start doing the Peloton classes. So that's Betty's new New Year's resolution. The only problem is that's pretty much exactly like Betty's last New Year's resolution. It may be a different diet name, it may be a different kind of exercise, but it's the same thing. And if Betty has not done any of the mental prep work for this New Year's resolution, it's probably going to end up being the exact same results, because at the end of the day, it's really not about a diet plan. And let me tell you, you don't even have to have a diet plan. I don't like the idea of having a diet plan, eating plan, exercise plan, things like that. You come up with what works best for you. It doesn't have to be an organized, branded name plan. But if Betty wants to try that, that's fine. She can try it, but you have to have some strategies to begin with. So let's talk about what are those strategies, the mental prep. The very first thing would be for you and for Betty, I would ask, do you want to do this resolution? And what I mean by that, I really want to emphasize the word you. Do you want to have this New Year's resolution? Not your doctor kind of trying to strong arm you into you need to change your exercise and your eating and your sleep and your stress because you have high blood pressure, you have high cholesterol, you're pre-diabetic, right? So your doctor keeps hounding you to, improve your health. Maybe it's a spouse, maybe it's your kids, other family members, friends. Other people are making you feel like you should have a New Year's resolution, that you should be doing something to improve your health. So the most important first step is making sure it's you that wants to make this change. And if that's not you right now and you're like, no, I really don't want to make this change, it's really all about my spouse and my doctor, maybe not a great time to do a New Year's resolution. Don't worry about it right now. Okay? You can come back to it later when you actually do want to make those changes. Because at the end of the day, even though I'm a health coach, believe it or not, whether you want to change your health is your decision. You're an adult. You do not have to care about lowering your blood pressure. You do not have to care about your cholesterol. You do not have to care about not exercising. You don't have to do any of those things. You're an adult and you can make the decision, no, I am going to accept the consequences of my eating and my lifestyle and my exercise behaviors, and I'm going to be fine with that. So that is your choice. You do not have to have a New Year's resolution or ever feel the need to improve any health markers if you don't want to. But let's say that you do want to. You are interested in feeling better, getting better sleep, having more energy, decreasing your risk for future diseases, things like that. So let's say, for the sake of argument, the first step, you answered yes, I do want to have this New Year's resolution. So the second step would be go grab, after you watch this video or on replay, pause, a notebook or a journal. Okay, and I'm going to have you use a notebook and a journal for the next 4 sessions coming up also. But I just want you to answer 2 questions, real simple. This first one is super simple. The first question is, what are some things you could do that would improve your health? Just write down a bunch of ideas that you think of that could improve your health. For example, you could sleep more, you could eat better, you could exercise more, you could think of ways to reduce your stress, you could go on vacations more because having time for vacation helps to improve your health. Write down whatever you can think of that would help to improve your health. And then question number 2 to write down the answer to is, what do you want to change? So you probably have lots of things on your list. You're not going to change all of them immediately, starting January 1st. What do you want to change? What do you want to start with? Much like, let me give you an analogy. If I were to ask you, where do you want to go on vacation? Where do you want to travel, right? You could come up with probably lots of different places you want to visit at some point in your lifetime. I want to go to the beach, the mountains, the desert, the big city, an island, wherever, right? But then if I say, okay, where do you want to go on January 1st? That's going to narrow the list down significantly, right? There may be some places you don't particularly want to visit in the month of January, right? So think about that. This is narrowing the list down. What do you want to start with? Pick one thing off of your list, at the most 2, but you can just start with 1. You don't have to change how you eat and start exercising. You could start with one or the other. You don't even have to start with those. You could start with, I want to start sleeping better. I want to start improving my sleep. You could start with that. Or reducing my stress. You could start with that. Okay? So that's all it for today. This was just a very brief first session just to kind of introduce this series that I'm going to be doing. Again, I will be doing 2 more Facebook Lives next week and then 2 the following week. And each one is just, it's the mental prep work that will kind of get you geared up for starting off that New Year's resolution. And again, it doesn't have to start on January 1st. No one's going to check. It could start January 9th. It could start January 19th. It could start in February. But whenever you're ready and it's your decision, if something you want to do, that's when you can start. And you want to start with this prep work first before you ever look at a recipe or figure out if you want to join a gym. Don't worry about that now. Start right here first. Eventually, next week and the week after, we will be getting into tracking and journaling and setting goals and things like that. Okay? So stick with it. Leave a message in the comments if you want to write down what your New Year's resolution is. If you have one, let me know if you want to let me know. Or you could always send me a DM if you don't want to let the world know your New Year's resolution and just me. That's fine too. But thanks for joining me today, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.